Okay, Questing Druid. 2 mana. Whenever you cast a spell that's blue, black, or red, put a counter on it. This is literally Corian Dryad. Corian Dryad by itself, not a good enough card for Modern, but when you just slap a Reckless Impulse, a little bit worse than Reckless Impulse, you can't play them until your end of your next turn, but it is an instant, so you can go end of your opponent's turn, cast it, and it's effectively the same. Almost the same. Close enough, maybe. And again, I mean, it's kind of classic adventure formula. You take 2 cards that are, like, almost playable, slap them together. That's a good card. And it's also kind of unique that, like, both sides are just 2 mana on the adventure creature. Like, Bone Crusher Giant's a pretty good card, but the fact that, like, Bone Crusher is 3 mana makes it, like, pretty dang slow. Scriptures. Probably can't keep a hand like this on the blind on the draw. You can keep Breach, though. You can definitely keep a hand like this with Breach. What about Otter Prowess? Like, I don't know. Again, everybody's like more excited for Otter, I know, but I think this is the better card by a pretty significant margin, so it's what we're playing. Oh, I guess so I shouldn't have cracked this now because of discard spells, although they are also always taking my Breach here, probably. Gonna be fetching, I think, with the Breach in my hand. We may go for a value Breach next turn. It's actually kind of awkward if we draw our Druid now, because we can't Impulse on their turn. A weird sequence. We also have 17 creatures. A little bit weird to just not have drawn any. Just gonna bolt them, I guess. Make Breach better. Alright, let's go for the Questing Druid then. A lot of wheel spinning. Obviously, you know, mulligan 7 with no creatures, have to keep 6. Don't draw creatures. Is what it is. Happy to be able to dart that. Kind of looks like it's more likely to be Nassif's deck than Coffers. Nassif's mono blacklist than Coffers, since I think most Coffers lists don't main deck Bowmaster. I'm out of basics already, too. Should Druid first and Dart? Yeah, I suppose so. Seek the Beast. They draw a card in response after taking their time to read the new card. Top 2 is Abundant Harvest and Arid Mesa. Have an explosive turn next turn. Got a pretty full graveyard for this Underworld Breach. The Sieves list was also only playing 2 Thoughtseizes, so it seems exceedingly unlikely that we won't be able to cast a Breach next turn. How do you think Gab's Mono Black no Coffers list compares to your version you're playing right before the PT? I mean, it's kind of the same general formula, but with the Sieve style deck building instead of, you know, my style deck building, kind of. Maybe it's you know, it is just very cool how different, like, the Sieve can. The Sieve is just so good at building archetypes in his own unique way. It's kind of hard to articulate, but there's like a few things about the list like I would never do, but like it's just like such an interesting different take. Mystic counter on Questing Beast. Oh, because I played the Mage first. Sorry, first time casted the card, but yeah. Certainly hoping they don't have a Fatal Push, but would not be surprised if they did. I do like that he's playing for. I do like to see if he's playing for Shieldred in the mono black deck though. That's something I had been like kind of wondering if you were supposed to do, and I just happy he's doing it. So I can double Mutagenic Growth, or I can double Bauble and Mutagenic Growth. Right now I have 16 damage. Bauble is only +2. Mutagenic Growth is +4. So I guess I want to Bauble. Wait, what if they don't have Fatal Push? It's not too bad. Could have Manamorphosed in a Bauble, but then I'm taking damage off the Shieldred. I'd have had to do it, you know, with the Shieldred in play, which seems kind of not correct. Bummer. +4, it's green. Yeah, but this is non-green. You green spells don't trigger Questing Druid. So down to 5. Do they have a second Shieldred? Does have a Cling to Dust. Gains 3 life with that. Then draws 3 cards. I'm a bit confused why you'd play the Cling to Dust before drawing cards there. Don't yield, you can bring back Bauble again. Oh, whoops, yeah. Oops. Although having a Bolt in the yard to flashback with Breach is actually pretty good with them having the ring on 3 for what it's worth. They draw another Shieldred. Damnation, okay. Although the Seamless has a lot of graveyard hate. Maybe I just have to cut my Breaches, which is so weird, I feel. Seek the Beast. So I can put my opponent down to 2. In case shielded. But yeah, but they exiled a creature with Cling to Dust, not a spell, so they didn't draw a card. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, and the main phase of Dart, obviously. New card punt. Damn, sorry. Dart that my opponent would maybe just be dead too. I don't know. I was you know, getting kind of used to like the light up stage style effects. Just punting, huh? I'm looking for a bolt here. I think. Okay, we did find a bolt. You do get to go up to 11, then down to. Yeah, the Clings look so good in the mono black list. Wish I had been playing them when I was working on the deck. Kept on Mirrex before Beseech. Just free value of 10 of colorless land spots. Mono black Mirrex wins the game. A couple of activations. Yeah, so if I cast the Dart, we would have won, I think. Well, I guess they could still draw a card off the Spell Bomb. It's not like. Yeah, they would have had two more life. Yeah, Mirrex is pretty interesting. Okay, yeah, if they were at -2 life here, they would be dead. Now we don't have outs. You too. I'm there, kind of getting damaged with the first Druid miss sequence. Yeah, it's okay. Kind of a big gear to switch from the earlier deck. Suppose don't really have sideboard cards for the mono black deck, so our sideboard plan of maybe cutting the Breaches doesn't really work. I think it's okay to have the Breaches in, I guess. Not so good against Nile Spellbomb, but okay against Cling. Gonna keep name land with Abundant Harvest. I'm playing one Dreadhorde Arcanist in the deck. I think the first copy is okay to play. I wanted one more creature since like Questing Druid is not a creature on turn 2 that often. Hopefully you're not playing it on turn 2. They had ring protection when I had dart. I don't believe that they did. Not sure that there's any card I could see on top that I would not play the Arcanist for. I do think I'm actually going to Manamorphose on my turn though, because of Bowmaster and also Questing Druid kind of. Okay, it's a lot of burn. If I could go Breach double Bauble this turn, maybe I would. I think we'll just play whatever way else we draw, and Soul-Scar Mage is good enough. Probably will throw the bolts away end of turn. Yeah, Questing Druid does get a counter for Manamorphose. Maybe I save the bolts. Yeah, I think if I draw DRC, it's a bit better. I'm just gonna go, you know, Breach draw 2. I think seeing the amount of graveyard hate my opponent has, this is correct. And nice that we can Lava Dart a Bowmaster too. No Bowmaster is okay with me, I suppose. No, 4-drop is really nice. Their hand is all removal and or lands. Blaststone's definitely a nice thing for my opponent to have. Questing Druid is kind of the best card to draw, so for whatever that's worth. And there we go, definitely keeping that. How do you feel about draw 1 and play the Soul-Scar there? The turn we bobbled and saw the Soul-Scar on top? Oh, I get to shuffle my card. Kind of Breach for Alpine Moon? What do you... They like blast them with Alpine Moon? I think that's a losing fight in these kind of matches. Oh, Soul-Scar on the yard. I see. Yeah, maybe. It's probably a little bit better, yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm playing so bad. I'm just into the stupid blast zone. Just gonna concede. Sorry. Shame concede. Even though the game's even pretty live, I just can't. Sorry. I feel like it was such a big gear switch from the last deck too. Just have to pivot my brain. I even had Giganta in my early draft. There's just too many decks, huh? Where you had that? Yeah, I know. I feel like I was in pretty good position too. It's just like it's just so embarrassing to make those kind of mistakes on stream too. It's just I just gotta let it go. No, you can play Manamorphose with Giganta. Maybe I had Giganta and I was like, I want to play all the Chalices, and it's kind of awkward. Not that big a deal. 2 Thoughtseize list seems weird. Yeah, I know that I would basically always play 4 Thoughtseize in the mono black list, but certainly very Nassif style to not. So probably is Jund Saga or like Red Green Saga. Not really sure what's going on. They are a red deck, so I think holding the Mutagenic Growth is probably fine. Cashing it in for 4 damage, also likely fine. Having not played the black deck much when it beats it. I mean, the deck is very good. The Steve's Take, I think, is very good at 2. I think he did a lot to improve the archetype. I wouldn't like make every single change he has, but I really like the 4 Shieldred. I like being not on the grief plan. There was one more thing about his list I really liked. I think not playing 4 Thoughtseizes is wrong. It's just like your most important card has so many matchups, and but maybe the combination of all like the Graveyard Hate and Field of Ruins is just fine. So draw a spell, Questing Druid, okay. So I gotta play that on my opponent's turn, I guess. Their build is pretty interesting. Oh yeah, the Cling to Dust. Yeah, the Cling to Dust is certainly the other thing I really like about it. I think I'm gonna save this for some red removal. I'll try to kill them next turn. I think we'll have another turn. I noticed Steve has been playing like 4 Cling to Dust at some points even, or like crazy numbers. 4 seems like way too many. But maybe it's just like super free. I could also be wrong. But like the first one for sure, probably the second, probably not the third and fourth for me. Handy with the 5 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, love them playing Rin in 6 here. You can play Seek the Beast in your step if you won't play Crown of Spells. Yeah, that's a good line. Oh yeah, the Mono Black's bad matchup. That was the conversation. So like when I was playing a lot of the deck, I was like I was funny enough. I was losing to like the Yawgmoth, like the Reduke Yawgmoth builds. Okay, so let's go Seek the Beast. That was one thing I was losing a lot too. With the Cottage tech, you were better against Scam and then worse against Tron. Ooh. Well, let's save the Soul-Scar Mage. Yeah, you're better against Scam, worse against Tron. The Scam matchup I think is pretty close. I think there is one like particularly bad matchup that I'm kind of forgetting. Rhinos is okay. It's actually not that bad. I do think the deck is good. It doesn't have like a lot of like super apparent weaknesses, which is a pretty good combo. They should be dead here. Certainly want to keep that. It's kind of cute how often this deck just plays out of the Exile Zone. I always love Abundant Harvest and Prowess. Oh, now they're so dead. I will say I have not been playing very well, but we haven't played this card a lot either. But Questing Beast I think looks good, just like strong 3-for-1 already several times. So we're up against I guess. The synthesizers are really throwing me off. I think some people will be crazy enough to play Ring and Synthesizer in the same deck. Bring in my Alpine Moon. Play Prowess Raw. I feel like it's rough to play around Bowmasters just being able to spot so much. I mean, you're a Lava Dart deck. I don't think it's that tough. I think I'll trim an Arcanist, Manamorphose Breach. Gotta be kind of fast in this matchup. Have I been calling it Questing Beast? Questing Druid. Like, if you're up against a Bowmaster deck, like, you can try not to play your Channeler turn 1. Obviously, you can't always do that, but doesn't seem that difficult. Like, here, you know, there are red and 6 decks, so I'm just going to play the Swiftspear first, even though, like, typical sequencing is usually Channeler before Swiftspear. And then I think I hold the Bauble for a turn. No space for one Become. I would play, but you could play if you play Become Immense, you have to play it over the 3rd Breach. But I think the 3rd Breach is better. Their build is confusing. They're Teamer, but they have so many mountains. Could it be good to Questing Druid this turn? I think I might save the Questing Druid and get the Channeler Bauble Harvest. We're gonna have Delirium. And I think I want to harvest before Bauble. Get some value there. No way they're a Blood Moon deck? No, they're definitely an Urza Saga deck. So they have a Lightning Bolt, but we have a Mutagenic Growth to misstep that. Okay, we'll keep that, and then we can go Soul-Scar Mage and then Seek the Beast on their turn. I would play 2 Become Immense and 2 Teamer Battle Rage. It's just that Breach is better, I think. Like, just Breach Mutagenic Growth is better, in my experience. It's just, like, so much harder for, it just, like, you go from, like, being, like, really weak to removal to, like, you just have a card that wins the game after your opponents cast a ton of removal. This is so funny. This is the funniest turn that's happened today. My opponent went floated mana explosives on 0 on accident. I think that they meant explosives on 1. But I kind of would be very happy if they just went explosives. Okay, the turn got funnier. It just got funnier. They have 2 1-mana permanents in play. I cannot believe that the turn got funnier. Alright, Seeking the Beast. This quest to do is strictly better than Research Desk. I mean, one of them is an Urza Saga target, I guess. Oh, I shouldn't have kept that because I'll just play into the explosives, although maybe I feel too bad for them. Maybe I need to play into it. We also don't randomly have lethal, do we? Dart Bolt Growth. So this is 3, 7, 9 plus 4, 13. Yeah, not quite. I'll play the Druid before the Mage this time, though. I guess I'll fetch so I can bolt without them having a window to... Oh, sorry, I forgot... I don't know why I keep thinking that this is... I can save the... It's not Questing Druid's fault, it's my fault for not casting the Mutagenic Growth. I just keep thinking I can save it for another turn. Because I'm so used to playing Light Up the Stage and Reckless Impulse effects, despite we've talked about it a ton. I don't know what's wrong with me. That's okay. You always make a lot more mistakes when you're playing with new cards. Oh, it's very funny. Ancient Grudge plus Questing Druid, you spend a green and then spend a green and get a counter. So it's going to do this in the upkeep. Just make them sack the explosives and then get my Surveil, and then I can play my Soul-Scar Mage pre-combat for a little bit more damage. And I think I'll go ahead and dart them also for second Surveil. Another counter on the Druid. Seems worth keeping on top. It's not, lethal this turn, but don't really feel like we need to present lethal this turn. Is there Ginger playable Pioneer card? Maybe. Don't think there's a lot of Planeswalkers in Pioneer, though. Alright, I'm playing really bad, but Questing Druid is looking really good. Yeah, so in these kind of hands, I usually like to go Channeler first. Since, you have to untap with a Channeler to get value from it. I guess, not if you're surveilling the same turn, but Swiftspear is gonna, get value the turn you play it always with the haste. Complete sentence. Questing Druid better than Coriander? Yeah, it is. Soul to tier 1, thank you. So it has Stomping Ground, presumably Prismatic Ending. No, they decide to Utopia Sprawl instead. Maybe that's all they have. Do you think I'm just gonna go Channeler, Swiftspear? Maybe I should Mutagenic Growth. Yeah, let's Growth. Not very likely to get Delirium, but just the fact that there's a chance, I think, is good enough for me to just fire off the Growth here. We also basically just have lethal with Breach, Mutagenic Growth next turn. We can harvest graveyard, get land is a bunch of extra cards in the yard too. Get the paragraph ready. Of the Infinite Life paragraph. I don't think we need it since we can't beat Infinite Life. I'm not running Gigantha because I think I had a draft of the deck that I know that some earlier drafted deck had Gigantha in it, and I must have had a draft that couldn't play it. I can't remember what card it was for, if I'm remembering it correctly, but we should be playing Gigantha. It's not that big a deal. So up against Enchantress. I think my opponent is... Well, it's a bit awkward because I'm going to have a hard time keeping Delirium next turn. I can also Mutagenic Growth. Okay, so now I can harvest for land. Sorry, non-land, and this gives me some more... cards in the yard. If I had Manamorphose, it's pretty nice. Another Mutagenic Growth probably gets the job done. Okay, so yeah, so we can cast Mutagenic Growth here 6 times, which is 12. Okay, so this is assuming that we have enough cards. But I think drawing the Manamorphose, it seems, or the Mutagenic Growth, it seems like it'll be hard to not be able to cast it 6 times. Although if we can keep Delirium, which shouldn't be that hard to do, we need to cast it 2 less times. Love Dart also puts an extra card in the yard effectively. Is it crazy to play Ancestral Anger? Yeah, that card just gets blown up by removal so hard. Okay. Ancient Grudge still, to this day, does not blow up enchantments. I think we're maybe running it back. Druid is not Gigantha legal? Is it? Druid is not Gigantha legal, right? Because it has 1 and 1. Is that right? I don't think that's actually right. And I put this deck together like a week ago. Yeah, is it the same thing? I think it's maybe the same thing as Fire Ice, no Gigantha. Let's just see if Gigantha is a legal companion. Yeah, I don't think adventure cards count that way, like split cards. Well, they probably should. Okay, it can be a companion, but with Fire Ice it can't be. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it only ever sees the non-adventure mana cost. Shouldn't a Narcomancer be good with Questing Druid? I mean, maybe in a different deck, but like... a Narcomancer is not better than Channeler, Soul-Scar Mage, Swiftspear, or Dragon Rage's Channeler. It's not better than like the other 12 creatures in the deck. We have what? I don't think it's better than the one of... I don't think it's better than the one of Dreadhorde Arcanist either, so like, how do you fit this card in your deck? I don't think you can. Sithis. How do you prioritize your 1-drops? There's some factors like Wrenn and 6 and Bowmasters that change your sequencing, but usually I play Soul-Scar Mage, then DRC, then Swiftspear in that order, any number. The difference being like if I think they have a Bowmaster or Wrenn and 6, then maybe I'll play a Swiftspear before a Channeler. So I can play Soul-Scar Mage, Swiftspear, Dart, kill this. I think I want to get the Questing Druid going. And forgo the Swiftspear. Maybe that's incorrect, but I like getting to keep the +1 counters here. And I think that I would only be taking this line in this kind of matchup against a opponent who should be pretty light on removal. Like they maybe just have like exactly 3 more removal spells in their deck. Just as a powerful idea for a new brew. I mean, it's maybe a start of an idea. It's, you know, I encourage you to work on it. Oh, maybe they only have 2 more removal spells in their deck. Damn it. My Kingdom for a Ghost Quarter. They have another 1-drop? Oh no, just gonna try him. In general, Goblin and Archimancer is not a card that I love. We did have like that red-green Storm deck that I thought was okay. You could play it in that kind of shell. Sterling Grove. Well, we'll take 0 mana, 2 damage off the top. Best draw would be Mutagenic Growth, followed by a Bauble. GG? I think GG. A little bit premature, but should get the job done. Guess Solitude is still a legal card for some reason. There are currently no paid deck techs available, but there are channel point deck techs if you save up your channel points. Want green food and Pioneer? Yeah, I could maybe try to get Sweet's Revenge working in Pioneer. I can try to crack something over there. If you have a, maybe you've got a good list going too. Why Ancient Grudge over other similar removal that hits enchantments or Exile's Ring? Why don't you, like, which specific card would you prefer I play? Because, like, all of the stuff that Exile's Ring is 2 mana. And I don't really want to play any of those effects. Any 2 mana of these kind of effects in my deck, so... Which specific card would you have me play over Ancient Grudge? Because there's no 1 mana exile target artifact or enchantment, or, like, 2 for 1 in the case of Grudge. One of Grapeshot over Arcanist? Yeah, maybe. I've played a Grapeshot in Prowess before and haven't hated it. That seems like it'd be an okay change. Uh-oh. Living in basically just unwinnable matchup game 1, nearly unwinnable. Probably just need to high roll a little bit and draw the land to even have a chance. Okay, guess that is step 1 / what I asked for. Would love to be able to mill over a creature or 2. Lava Dart is interesting as well. Yeah, I think I have to cast the Bolt. So there's a creature. So am I supposed to flashback the dart? I think, yeah. It's 2 more damage. It's 4 more damage if I get Delirium. If I can also maybe just put a creature in the yard, that's going to help me against Living End. So, did not find Delirium, unfortunately. Did find a second creature. We'll take it. Also, Dreadhorde Arcanist in the yard means we're flashing back Lightning Bolt, potentially, which would be a big deal. I haven't shared the Mosswood list yet, but it's not anything too exciting because, you know, I mean, Mosswood is a really cool card. It's not the most exciting card. Haywire is sort of only 1 mana. In what way? In what way is Haywire Might only 1 mana? You always spend 2 mana to use it in this deck. It's only 1 mana if you have Urza Saga. Not sure you can play Grapeshot in deck with only 60 mana sources. You can with what's the card called? Abundant Harvest. With Abundant Harvest you can. It's not that hard to hit your land drops in this deck. Yeah, this ended up being, I think, I feel like we're currently in a very winnable game. Living in game 1 is usually very tough. We also have 3 Chalices on the board for the matchup. I've tried to play like a bunch of Tormod scripts in the sideboard in the past, but it's just so bad to like turn their Living Ends into Wraths, and then they have all the time in the world to catch back up, you know. So I think I'm just gonna bolt their face here and try to surveil towards a land for Breach or just Delirium. Either one should be about good enough. Or a bolt, yes, or dart. So yeah, dart, land, Delirium. So there's Delirium. We'll take that. And then what happens if my opponent Living Ends again? We probably can't lose, so I guess the problem here would be my opponent going land Curator of Mysteries, but it would have to be a basic land, Besage Otawara, or a fetch land. Riders, Wildfire, Boom Bust, this feels like a good direction for Suppression Field. I agree with that thought, Simon. I agree with that thought. I just don't think the 2-drop is playable at all. Yeah, they're also dead too. Wait, they're not killing my Arcanist, which means that they're going to try to Living End again this game. But like, I just have 2 creatures in my yard and they have none. They do have a breeding pool, so maybe they're going to like Violent Outburst on my turn as a Wrath. And then, but then I'm just so ahead on board. Oh, we have Athena here. Hello, Athena. I see growth in the yard? I guess. Wait, wouldn't they just be dead? Or do they go to 1? Petty theft. Okay, I didn't really account for this, but aren't they just dead to this too? They're just dead to Arcanist. Okay, well. Also top deck bolt pretty good, but I can just go Arcanist target itself with the Mutagenic Growth. Okay, up a game in the Nightmare matchup. I think we go cut an Arcanist, cut 2 breaches. One breach for combo turns sometimes gets you out of it, but it's mostly too slow. Yeah, definitely excited to steal this game. Play to our outs. Yeah, them also having the weakest cyclers was a factor, although I think we could beat like 1 good cycler, 1 mid cycler there. We were also on the draw that game. Yeah, Run Afoul's for Murktide. Well, we'll keep this. I'll probably play my Baubles before my Chalice. We'll play my Chalice on turn 1. If only you could play out multiple Chalice on 0s at the same time. You can if you Veil of Summer. I learned this trick from Edgar. I actually don't know Edgar's last name. But if you he had a game against Rhinos where he went Chalice on 0. They forced him negationed his Chalice. He Veil of Summered, and then he just played a second Chalice because there's an active Veil of Summer. So the first Chalice didn't counter the second. How did Knight of Sweet's Revenge do? The record wasn't great, but the deck looked really good and very powerful, and Knight of Sweet's Revenge specifically seemed like a very powerful card. So we'll be playing with it more for sure. Been thinking all week that you play Otter this deck. Yeah, the thing is, Otter is just not... I think at the time of making this comment, I think Otter is worse than Questing Druid, Channeler, Soul-Scar Mage, and Swiftspear. I may still try to play the card. I may still, you know, register it and see how it does, but I I think it's the worst one. I think it is the worst one, and to me, I know like the whole internet is more excited about about Otter. They like the Otter says the word Prowess on it. Otter is a 1-mana creature that says the word Prowess on it, and people are excited. But in my opinion, Questing Druid is so much better. Questing Druid is really, really good, and I think it's also been looking really, really good so far. Like immediately. I've also been I've been thinking about trying to play this card in other shells. I'm really not sure exactly where else it can fit into. Another Force of Negation. I like Questing Druid over Sprite Dragon. Yeah, I think it's a lot better than Sprite Dragon. It's just like it's like the creature's not as good as Sprite Dragon, and the draw is not as good as Reckless Impulse, but it's just both on the same damn card. Okay, well they do have another Force of Negation, but if they go down to one card in their hand, that's going to be okay. How's the testing going? Today's been a really good testing day, actually. Like Night of Sweet's Revenge looked great today. Questing Druid has looked great today. Yesterday, Agatha's Cauldron looked great. Bean looked great. The Turtle didn't look great, and then I can't remember what the other. Oh, Beseech the Mirror did not look great. Okay, Forest Pitch Waker. So it looks like they were thinking about Waker of Waves looking for a blue card, but they decided not to risk it. Yeah, we played the Cauldron in Scales. And it was something I was thinking would maybe be a bit win more in Scales. But after playing it, I think that the card is actually just good in Scales. Probably should cash in my Mutagenic Growths this turn. Yeah, we played Beseech in this it was a really cool list. I think the Beseech deck was very cool, but it wasn't very good. It was a Restore the Balance deck. You can find it on Twitter, Muxfield, YouTube. Yeah. One thing about that was the other thing about Agatha's Cauldron. One thing I didn't realize was if you turn an Inkmoth Nexus into a Ballista, when you remove counters from your Inkmoth Nexus, it deals. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how punished I got for using Mutagenic Growths here. That's so insane. Oh my gosh. But it does infect damage if you peel counters off Inkmoth Nexus, which is like really random but pretty good. And their other card is Waker. Wow, that's a really good 3 cards. Do you think Cauldron can be played in deck with Grisabrand? I'd be surprised, but maybe. So we have 5 points of burn against an opponent at 10. We have Delirium. We also have 2 good creatures in the graveyard too. It's especially nice that if they do just go like land Sharpless Agent, they won't actually be able to kill either creature with Fury, right? Does Question make Gutshot a bigger consideration over Mutagenic Growth? No, Growth is it's just so good as a protection spell. I know it works a bit better with Druid, but you're also just okay, I think, not getting max value off your Druid, since you can be okay not getting max value off your Druid, since sorry, I don't know why my train of thought today is just so slow. Since like the card already gives you a lot of value by itself, if that makes sense. So if I keep this on top, they're at 9 down to 6. Yeah, I keep this on top for lethal. I know, so it's hard to stream and play new cards and stuff. Okay. So I guess we'll play around Force Blue card. Feels great to 2-0 living in. We don't, drawing 2 Chalices. This game was certainly really nice. Do you think Questing Druid will be really playable modern? Yeah. I don't know if you've watched this league at all, but I didn't play like match 1 especially very well, but Questing Druid has been amazing so far, I think. I think the card is awesome. How relevant is growth in the one of Arcanist? Not very. It only like helps you it only helps you flashback Mutagenic Growth. Okay, so we'll get the 4-1 prediction going. It's like it's a little early, but like I would be not surprised at all if Questing Druid was just stock and prowess going forward. Okay, mulliganing this. Stop keeping this. I don't know if we're gonna put back the growth. I think we put back second channeler. A lot of times you put back the third creature. Although on the draw against Titan. Certainly not feeling very good about this kind of slower, grindier hand. Probably not an awful matchup overall, and probably relatively fast. Playing Basilisk Call over Shadowspear. I think the trample on Shadowspear is really important, especially just because like putting on construct tokens. I wouldn't do it, but I don't think the idea is the worst one I've heard. It's an aggressive Summoner's Pact. Must mean they already have a Titan in their hand, though. Do you think I'm going to go for the Seek the Beast? It's a little unfortunate to keep this like slower hand in this matchup, but that's, you know, just magic. Like if you already have like if you have Agatha's Cauldron and you get to make everything you have a Walking Ballista, you're probably enough ahead in those kind of games that you don't need to also give Death Touch to everything. What would you cut for Cauldron and Scales? Well, we played it yesterday. I had to build without Ring and 3 2-mana Ozoliths. I would take that list I had yesterday, though. I would cut the third Cauldron, the third 2-mana Ozolith, and play 2 Rings. And play 2 Ring, 2 Ozolith, and 2 Cauldron. I feel like that's a split I'm going to like. And I'll probably be playing that split. We had another Questing Druid. Hitting Questing Druid off Druid can be a little awkward. Not that this is necessarily a game worth playing. Yes, we'll cast the one that is not on an adventure, because we're going to lose it if we don't. How many? I would play 2 Cauldrons and Scales. I mean, how could they not have a Titan here? But also, how could they be playing Crumbling Vestige without Titan? They really have Teleria West? Oh my gosh. This is the slowest Titan draw I've ever seen. I mean, if we can find a way to kill the Dryad, the Titan is not going to be too insurmountable, which is interesting. Might even just Questing Druid here. Questing Druid gives me kind of the most... Or Seek the Beast, rather. Gives me a lot of looks at a Bolt. Like if I find a land, oh, I guess I can keep this. No, I have to graveyard that because I'm not guaranteed to land off Seek the Beast. And a Bauble and a Scalding Tarn. So let me do this first, and then we can dig for a Bolt or a Harvest off, a Bolt or Dart off the Harvest. Ding, ding, ding. So we go Harvest, non-land. And we'll have Delirium too, despite getting Bojuka Bog twice. Too bad we can't play the other dart in our hand, but killing the Dryad's the most important thing. It's going to make it to where we're just not dead to a Titan. Although they're not dead to my double Mutagenic Growth, right? Yeah, that at 20, I don't think so. I think they're always going to be chump blocking with Grazer. If they don't chump block with Grazer, we'll do the math again. Fuck. Okay, hold on. My opponent's top card is an Amulet, which means that am I dead? So they go Amulet, Pact, Hasteland, Copy of Vesuva, attack. They shouldn't be able to double strike. Yeah, they shouldn't be able to double strike, so I think I should attack with everything. Okay, Vesuva is in the hand and it's copying your Rot Farm. Maybe they're going to go for Cultivator Colossus? If they're smart enough to float white. Well, I was thinking they could Vesuva this, but now the Vesuva's in their hand. So, sometimes they play two Vesuvas. I don't think they always do. With them having two cards in their hand, presumably both lands, I think that Colossus is also pretty potentially beatable. Weird game. They do go for the Colossus. They do leave the Garrison up, so if they just find their haste lands, they could maybe kill me that way. Okay, so their hand is currently... Oh, well, at the end of this, whenever they're done, whenever they feel like being done, their hand will be 2 spells. We're able to beat any combination of Dryad, Grazer, Amulet, Explore, you know. I think at this point beating a Titan is not doable. And they haven't like snap conceded, so that's, you know, bad news. They pick up 2 Besagers. Tried Sleep Curse Fairy, Wizard Payout, Wizard's Lightning. I haven't. I don't think that card's very good, but at the very least there are more exciting cards to play, I think. We'll play it out. Because like we know Vesuva is in their hand, so it's not a given that they can double strike. So they're attacking with the Colossus, which is only 11. What am I missing here? Guess nothing. I think this is just their plan. I suppose their plan of just blocking is probably going to be good enough. Definitely a weird game. Probably making green and just casting 2 Mutagenic Growths. So I can play Swiftspear or Dart this turn. So we go Swiftspear, Growth. Swiftspear Growth this is 9 power, and this is going to be... So assuming I put the Growth on the Swiftspear, this will be 4, and this will be 5. And so if I get Delirium of double Mutagenic Growth, which is not very likely by itself, then I put my spot in an opponent where they have to block with a Titan, but then they untap and kill me. So it seems like I'm going to have to Dart instead. I wonder if it's ever going to be correct to... Yeah, I think I have to put myself in a spot where they have to block Mage and Questing Beast, and where both their creatures die in combat. I don't think that there's a way for me to just get like lethal here. So we're now 1 type away from Delirium. This is 6/7. This will grow up to 8/8 with 2 more counters. So I think the Lava Darts are going to both go at the Colossus so that the Questing Druid wins the combat. We do find Delirium, which now means that my opponent does have to block both. It's one of the weirdest games I've ever played against Titan. Graveyard, I guess. I don't know. It's fine. So I have to block both of these. Go to 9. I think they have to pay for 2 Summoners packs also. And we also don't know that their hand is like has another Titan in it. If they pay for 2 Summoners packs, they'll have like 5 mana left. Their hand is like 2 Besagus in a spell, right? Wait, no! No! Oh, no! Ugh. Sorry, I just miscounted. Fuck. Sorry, y'all. I thought it was enough, but I was obviously wrong. Yeah, I mean, I just needed to attack and then like let them go to blocks. Okay, I do like the grudges to just keep them off their amulets. Damn it, that's a frustrating mistake. Maybe just 3. Yeah, sorry, I thought it was enough. Yeah, math was indeed for attackers. Is Baron popular enough to want the Dragon's Claws? Not exactly, but it's more so that when you're green-red over splashing blue, your sideboard options get a lot worse. Okay, we'll keep this one. Is K-Return better than Classicosm? Yes, it kills Sanctifier and Vec, which is the entire reason you play the card in the first place. Don't think we fire off Mutagenic Growth yet. Yeah, I can deal extra damage next turn. Not impossible to kill them this turn, not very likely though. Casting Alpine Moon on Growth Chamber, probably gonna be game over. Maybe a little greedy to seek the beast with like, yeah, okay, yeah. Should have just cast the Alpine Moon. I wanted to hit a land off of it though. Still gonna have a pretty tough time. Okay, Radiant Fountain is actually pretty dang good. Man, I would just should have Alpine Moon. I don't know if I can't remember the last time I've played a league this badly, to be honest. I think we're still gonna likely win this game. Simic, Growth Chamber. Does it come enough green cards for Force of Vigor? Yeah, it does. You could play Force over... Yeah, you could play Force. Playing Force and Prowess is kind of weird because you kind of need a density. Force could be better than Ancient Stirrings, though, or Ancient Grudge. Okay, so they have 5 mana. By my calculations, 1 short of a Titan. Yeah, I'm definitely... I don't usually feel Archetype Whiplash so much, but it's been a pretty hectic week. No land in their hand either is pretty interesting. Alright, Seeking the Beast. Bolt, obviously, very good draw. So I guess it's going to be best to... Well, I was going to say it would be best to bolt the Grazer. I guess it's still best to bolt the Grazer, right? This puts them to 1, kills the Dryad. Shout out to Radiant Fountain. Yeah, this is probably like the worst league I've ever played on stream, but Questing Beast is looking great, so we have that going for us at least. Questing Druid, Questing Druid. Persist Creatures first day of class. I got scammed into playing Persist Creatures plus first day of class by Spider Space, and I will never do it again. It is not a good plan. I think I'll play the 4th Grudge on the draw. Just like so important to keep them off Amulet. I'm gonna keep this, despite it being hella land heavy. Any consideration when become immense over 1 breach? I did consider exactly that that split. When I was building the deck, I think I'd just rather play the 3rd breach. 16 lands, by the way. My opponent also just, you know, hasn't had a lot of amulets in their opening hands either. How much better is Questing Druid versus Sprite Dragon versus Iteration? I mean, you don't put Questing Druid in your Iteration spot. It's just... I don't think it's a card you should be comparing it to. I think it is... You put it over Sprite Dragon, I think it is much better than Sprite Dragon. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's not... To me, I don't think you really want to be comparing it to Iteration. It's just not competing for the same slot. Right, well, we get to blow up a amulet. Hope they don't have a Titan. I did like Night of Sweet's Revenge. It was looking really good all day. Grudge for Prowess against their protection from everything. Although we can Grudge for Prowess next turn on the ring. Graveyard to land. Maybe we'll upkeep just to do that. No, you don't really want to play Bedlam Reveler and Prowess ever since they printed Breach. Breach is just better. Will I try it in a blue-red shell as well, or play instead of playing red-green? Well, I mean, Druid is a red-green card. You could play Teamer, but like the mana when you get 3 colors is really weird for Prowess. It's not something I'd ideally like to do. Okay, 3-2 this league. Did not play well at all. I'm going to try to get 1 more league in today and try to tighten up a little bit. We'll add the Forgotten Gigantha. I think cutting 3rd Dragon's Claw is pretty reasonable.